Designed to meet Zeon Zaku 2 head-on, the RX-78-2 Gundam was the Federation's ultimate mobile suit. But for some, it could still be made better. They wanted to turn it into the perfect Gundam. And so they did. With superior firepower, superior armor, and superior thrusters, the PF-78-1 Perfect Gundam was truly perfection on paper. But what if they could make it even better? Perfecter Gundam! And that's just what they did in the September 1984 issue of Comic Bomb Bomb. So let's have a look at what these mad lads were cooking in the 80s. Designed by Oda Masahiro, we have the Perfect Gundam Flight Type. Mounted on the right and left side of the backpack, it has the sling pannier wings of the Neo fam, but the wings are now upside down. It might be difficult to see at first, but on the Neo fam, they're angled slightly upwards, and on the Perfect Gundam, they're angled slightly downwards. And to increase its flight characteristics, it doesn't seem to be equipped with the twin beam rifle or the shield, meaning that its only weapons are the cannon and the Vulcan guns. The final changes then are that the head has been slightly modified and that the color scheme is now green and cream, which is based on a color scheme of the Vifam that wasn't used. Next up, designed by Ozawa Katsumi, we have the Perfect Full Armor Gundam, with shooting action. As the name indicates, this is a combination of the Perfect Gundam and the Full Armor Gundam, turning it into perhaps one of the truest, most perfectest Gundams around. The base model is the Perfect Gundam, but all of its energy pipes have been removed, and it now has the buckler shield, the twin beam rifle, and the backpack of the Full Armor Gundam. Plus, the Perfect Gundam's leg armor has been modified with vents and thrusters of the Full Armor Gundam. But there is more than meets the eye with the backpack, because not only is it a beam cannon instead of a rocket cannon, but it can also shoot toothpicks, which is where the shooting action in the name comes from. And it has enough force to knock down lightweight targets like ones made from paper. And for the coloring, the base color is copper to give it a sense of weight, followed by extensive dry brushing. Our next Perfect Gundam then is the ARV Gundam, designed by Kawaguchi Katsumi. It's the most extensively modified unit that we've seen so far, and it's inspired by the ARV type machines from Vifam. The arms are taken from the Gush, the hip covers are taken from the Wug, which might also be where parts were taken from to modify the shoulder armor, and then from the Giraffe, we have the knee covers, the pipes on the chest, the pipes on the face, and it also gave the inspiration for the asymmetrical chest armor and the shield. The only thing that I couldn't locate, and also wasn't described, was where the backpack came from. But that wasn't a problem at all with the Perfect Gundam VF-1S, designed by Kusakari Kenichi. The machine is painted in the colors of the VF-1S, used by the famous Roy Fokker. The energy pipes have been removed, as well as the shield and the twin beam rifle, and instead of its own backpack, it now has the Fast Pack. These packs have powerful thrusters and missile launchers, and this specific variant also has a twin beam cannon. I will say though that they missed out with the name here. Because in Macross, when a Valkyrie is equipped with the Fast Pack, it is referred to as either a Super Valkyrie or a Strike Valkyrie. So instead of Perfect Gundam VF-1S, they could have gone for the Super Perfect Gundam. Or, you know, the Perfect Super Gundam, Strike Perfect Gundam, or Perfect Strike Gundam. But now for something completely different. The Aura Battler Gundam, designed by Ishii Jiro. It uses the sword and backpack of the Bachun, the shield of the Schwartz, and then just a lot of scratch building to make this Perfect Gundam less of a mobile suit and more of an Aura Battler. But if you look closely, you can still see that the face has some hallmark Gundam features. Next up then, we have another kit with Vifam parts, the Black Perfect Gundam, designed by Tsuda Makoto. But this time around, I don't think that the builder tried to replicate the feeling of a Vifam machine, but rather just went with parts that looked cool. True to its name, the machine is painted in matte black, and it has some parts from the Were puppet Twinklehead, being the rocket gun and the shoulder parts, which I believe are used to create that very unique looking head. Other modifications include the canisters on the side skirts now being horizontal, modifying the chest armor, modifying the backpack, and removing the arm-mounted equipment. After all of these anime-inspired Perfect Gundams then, we now have a movie-inspired Perfect Gundam, the Daimajin Gundam, designed by Togawa Yu. Daimajin can be translated to Great Demon, and is also the name of the character that this thing is based on, as well as the movies that it stars in. Daimajin, Return of Daimajin, and Daimajin Strikes Again. And when you compare the Daimajin Gundam with the actual Daimajin, it immediately becomes apparent how good of a job that the modeler did. The helmet, shoulder pads, and skirt armor are scratch built with claw plates and a product called Fando. Now, at first, it was actually pretty difficult to find any information about what this Fando thing was, because I didn't know what it was. I just had the name of the thing, and I didn't know if they were referring to like a technique that he used, or a product that he used, or if it was just some random word in there that meant something else. And the big problem was that it was spelled the exact same way as fund in Japanese. So I kept getting money advice. But it seems to be a brand of modeling clay. And then for the rest of the body and also the legs, they were equally coated with Fando, which was then cut into a pattern resembling the Daimajin's armor. The one thing that the modeler then finds unfortunate though, is because of that liberal use of Fando, a lot of the joints got really obstructed, which then really limited the model kit's mobility. And these 80s model kits didn't have a lot of mobility to begin with, so that's really saying something here. The snippet then ends by saying that while it feels less like a Gundam now, it does have an aura of like strength and power surrounding it. And yes, I do agree with the fact that this thing looks awesome and that it is exuding like a kind of stately, imposing power, but at the same time, I do still think that it feels like a Gundam, especially compared to some of the other customs in this article. But even without that, I feel that this thing feels right at home with the Musha Gundams, which, if I'm not mistaken, also debuted in the same Plamo Kyoshiro manga as the Perfect Gundam. And then finally, we have the Perfect Gym, designed by Kondo Kazehisa. And yes, that Kondo Kazehisa. Because in addition to creating some really cool Gundam manga, he also likes building Gundam model kits. Unfortunately though, there's just not too much to say here, because it is the most straightforward of the bunch. It literally is the Perfect Gundam, but with a gym head, and also a more gym-like color scheme and some extra markings. But that's not to say that I don't like this thing. Quite the opposite actually. I got some comments about the full armor parts with the gym in my full armor Gundam development history video, and I also think that that is potentially a great idea. Because when you think about it, the Gundam is already perfectly fine as is. It's kicking ass, doing exactly what it's supposed to, and doesn't have any problems at all. So why not give a machine a boost that could actually use one? Like the gym. In order to mass produce it, it got weaker armor and its standard weapon was downgraded. The two main things that both the full armor and perfect add-on parts tried to address. it's almost a match made in Gundam heaven. And yeah, what better way is there to end a video about the perfect Gundam with a perfect gym? Truly perfect. So as always, a big thank you to the perfect Patreon supporters. I hope everyone has a perfect day, and I'll see all of you perfect beings next time.